Welcome to the FSMA Produce Safety Refresher Course, Module 2, Soil Amendments. These refresher modules provide an overview of the key requirements of the FSMA Produce Safety Rule. They are meant for those who have already attended a training course as a reminder of the key elements of the rule. These videos will not provide you with a certificate of completion and are not a replacement for attending a FSMA Produce Safety Rule training. Now let's get a refresher on soil amendments. Why are soil amendments an important consideration for food safety? Soil amendments are used to improve the fertility and condition of the soil. Some are chemical, like granular fertilizer. Some are biological, like manure and compost. Soil amendments from animals, such as manure, can carry pathogens that can cause human illness if they are ingested. All manure has the potential to contain pathogens, regardless of the health of the animal. These pathogens can persist in the soil for a long time, depending on a number of factors. Let's get a refresher about how different soil amendments are defined in the FSMA Produce Safety Rule based on their relative risk. First, if a soil amendment is made entirely of plant material, like culls from the field or pack shed or yard waste, it is not subject to the requirements of the FSMA Produce Safety Rule. Amendments of animal origin, like manure or fish emulsion, are subject to the FSMA Produce Safety Rule. These amendments are called biological soil amendments of animal origin in the Produce Safety Rule, and we will be referring to them as animal-based amendments. They might include amendments such as manure, raw or composted, table scrap compost, bone meal, feather meal, or fish emulsion. They are more likely to contain pathogens that can cause human illness. It is okay to use animal-based amendments like manure in the production of fruits and vegetables, but there are requirements and guidelines to help you do that safely to prevent contamination. This is what this module will discuss. Let's move on to talk more about animal-based amendments. These amendments are categorized as either treated or untreated based on the processes they have been through. First, let's discuss treated animal-based amendments. Treated animal-based amendments are products that have been through a scientifically valid and controlled process to reduce or eliminate pathogens. One example is controlled turned composting, where the process follows minimum temperature, turning, curing, and handling requirements. If you want to make your own treated animal-based amendments, you can follow the guidelines that have been developed by the National Organic Program. You can also purchase treated amendments from a supplier. They will need to provide you with the records to show that the amendment is fully treated. Next, let's talk about untreated animal-based amendments. This is the highest risk type of amendment, as it is the most likely to contain pathogens of human health concern. These amendments include raw manure, manure that has been passively aged in a stacked pile, teas made from untreated manure, or any type of amendment that has been mixed with untreated manure. These can be used as long as you take steps to mitigate the risk, such as through the timing of application. Remember, aged manure that has simply sat in a pile is not considered a treated amendment, even if it smells and feels like compost. It might still contain pathogens, since it was not turned to ensure even heating throughout the pile. So, how can you reduce risks when using animal-based soil amendments with fresh produce? The Produce Safety Rule does not currently define a minimum application to harvest interval, but the FDA suggests using National Organic Program guidelines to help minimize the likelihood of contamination. These guidelines say to wait at least 120 days between application of untreated manure and the harvest of products that grow in contact with the soil, like melons, and 90 days between application of untreated manure and harvest of a product that grows above the soil, like trellised tomatoes. Fully treated soil amendments can be applied at any time, since the likelihood of contamination with these products is greatly reduced. You should still apply treated products in a manner to minimize direct contact with the produce. There are requirements related to the handling and storage of animal-based amendments. If you are making or handling untreated animal-based amendments on the farm, designate tools or equipment for raw manure use, or clean and sanitize equipment between tasks related to raw manure and other tasks to reduce the potential for cross-contamination. The Produce Safety Rule requires that animal-based amendments must be handled so that they do not contaminate produce via runoff, wind, vehicle, or foot traffic. Once manure has been fully composted and is treated, make sure to store it so it is not recontaminated with raw manure. You could do this by covering fully treated compost. Remember, using a fully treated product that you have purchased or you have made following a validated process presents the lowest risk to food safety. The FSMA Produce Safety Rule has requirements for training and record keeping related to animal-based amendments. Workers who make or handle soil amendments must be trained on the safety processes, such as training workers to clean boots or clothing between manure handling and handling fresh produce. If your farm chooses to make your own treated compost, you must document that process. If you purchase fully treated product from a third party, you must retain documentation that shows a valid process was used to treat the amendment and that the amendment has been handled in a manner that minimizes contamination from untreated amendments. Let's summarize what we've covered in this refresher module. First, soil amendments vary in risk based on their origin. Plant-based or chemical amendments are low risk. Animal-based amendments are higher risk. Animal-based amendments that have gone through a scientifically validated treatment process, like thermophilic composting, are lower risk. Untreated animal-based amendments are higher risk and must be applied in a way to ensure they do not touch the produce. You should wait at least 90 to 120 days to harvest after application. If you make or purchase treated amendments, you must keep treatment records. And finally, train employees to use caution when handling manure. This has been the Soil Amendments module of the FSMA Produce Safety Rule refresher course. Find links to the resources in the description, and be sure to watch all of the other modules in this refresher course.